Hello and welcome to episode 33 of When the Flames Go Up, the ATFC podcast. A classic panel tonight. We've got myself, Joe, Julian, and Ash talking about our respective journeys and experiences at Yeovil away at the weekend. Look ahead to Fylde away on Saturday, as well as the FA Cup draw. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. There is Next week, we're not going to doing it like a normal episode. We're going to have an interview with David Kinniston that Guy kindly put together for us. So that's going to be next week's episode that will come out. And then 2 weeks after that, the all-time 11 will be out and live. So we'll have a normal one in between those two. If you're keeping count, if you want to stick it in your diary. I already have. In pen. There we go. Anyway, that's all from me. Enjoy the episode. Up the shots. So the shots off the back of another draw, this time away at Yeovil. We've got four people on the pod tonight that all went to the game from varying perspectives, I suppose. With three of us in the stand with the away fans, and one, where's he going to be? We'll find out after we get some thoughts on the game. It was a 1-1 draw. Josh Barrett, who made the team of the week, scored um, a, I mean, we'll get to it, but an unbelievable finish, and almost had another one where he kind of dinked the keeper, which would have been another great goal to add to his slowly growing tally of worldies. So yeah, I'm going to come to you first, Joe. We finally met for the first time, and you brought some friends along with you. How did you find Yeovil, and what did you think of the game?
Yeah, brought a friend along with me, and it's interesting actually because I live in Devon and he's in Torquay, and so he sort of came as a neutral. I mean, the other game he came to with me was West Brom away, so I wanted to bring him to another game to sort of show him what a more normal older shot away day was. And he had, fortunately, it was a really entertaining match, and yeah, he had a really good time. And his first main comment I just want to share was, yeah, what an entertaining game of football, and how on earth is Josh Barrett playing in the National League? Were his main takeaways. I mean, yeah, Josh Barrett's performance on the first half performance particularly was just kind of a bit of display of showmanship, wasn't it? And his goals reel at the end of the season is going to look, if it carries on at this rate, he's going to just have a whole goals reel, which is basically our goals of the season. Um, yeah, what a talent he is, and it's just kind of a shame that when he gets to about 70 minutes, he's sort of done. But I was really starting to try to watch him individually, and the yards he puts in. I had Tommy mention it in a interview a couple of weeks ago about how actually he really does run as much, if not more, as others. And I did watch that, and it's definitely true. It was a really entertaining match. Yeovil, I thought, were quite poor in the first half, surprisingly poor. And then when it got to half time, I thought there's no way they're going to carry on like that. And second half, they came out straight at us. Really made us think with Dewhurst again. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. He's winning us points, even though it felt like we should have been out of sight at half time. By the end of that game, he's made a couple of saves where actually he's probably saved us a couple of points again. I thought that Tetek had a really good game, and seeing him from where we were sat in the away end, seeing him pull up, I think there's a universal sigh, because he was really starting to fire again. Looked like he was getting his fitness back, and then looks like he did his hamstring. And I just hope he's not out for too long. But one thing I did note, just slight aside, is he is probably with us for a reason, and that's probably because of his injury record and his lack of games. So we shouldn't really ever get too excited that he's going to have a huge run of games, because he's not got a history of it. So to have a player of his quality, well, I think we've got to take the rough with the smooth there. Um, yeah, there's so much to say about this game. So I'll just hold a pause now and maybe chip in a bit later, see what Ash has to say.
Great, great. Yeah, yeah. Let's just throw it straight to you, Ash. What were your thoughts on the game of the weekend?
Oh yeah, entertaining game. As Tommy said, an away point is a good point. It's always a good point in this league. First half, I it was very, very good. I thought we should have buried them by the end of it. Um, Henry was very good. Barrett again, just I think he has to start as many games as he can. Another player which I thought did really well, considering they were going down that side a lot, was Ashley Akpan. I think he had a very solid game down that side as well. Opened up a lot of things as well as come back to help out Bird defensively. Dewhurst in the second half, yeah, he saved us a point, and they say every good goalkeeper earns about 10 to 15 points a season for their team. I think he's earned at least 3 or 4 already this season for us with some of the saves he's made. It just seems weird that we tend to drop off on that second half. I knew we should have really buried them in the first half and really just flat out some goals, but they did come at us second half, and praise to them. They played very well in the second half. It's a bit of an unfortunate goal because otherwise that small mistake we made at the back, we could have been talking about a 1-0 win. And we could be talking about different ends of the table. We could be talking about different things, but coming away from it, I just feel like we're not quite clicking in that second half. And hopefully that'll be fixed. And I don't think it's a big panic or any sort of like immediate transfers that are needed or anything like that. I think the team is solid as it is. Ellison made a very good debut for us as well. It's a shame. I think he's only on a month loan. It would like to see him how he does over the course of a few months, and really just solid up that defence, which I think he did in that game, bar that one mistake.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the kind of small mistake at the back for the goal and the chances we had in the first half, I suppose, because both, well, I mean, I guess the biggest chance probably fell to Maghomer in the first half, with his header from a corner crashing off the bar. He must have been about 4 foot higher than everyone in the box and hit it as hard as he could. But yeah, it just crashed off the bar. And then it was his kind of missed header in the second half, which miffed miffed me, as to why he went for that header when there was just one striker and he's managed to miss it, and it happened in space of 10 seconds. We're staring down a barrel of conceding a big chance and ultimately the goal.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it was a real shame actually for Magoma because I think he's been quite a standout performer in the last few games, and I noted down as well actually how we looked a lot more solid defensively with Ellison coming in, and yeah, it was a real shame for Magoma that's what we're going to remember from that game because he did. You look at who Yeovil had up front, Frank Nuble, he was pretty non-existent really for a player who's quite dominant normally physically, and he didn't get a sniff at all in the first half. And I also noted down Lachlan Bird going forward. It was just really, it's just the last sort of 20 minutes, he made like 3 or 4 forays into the final third and they couldn't get the ball off him. Although I was slightly disappointed when he sort of went down looking for a penalty when actually might have been better off to stay. It was quite an elaborate fall. That's my way of saying it.
yeah, there was also a moment where I think we were just like lumping the ball in the box. Or it might have been a corner, maybe a deep free kick, and it just like flicked up to the air and it went out to the other wing. I think Lachlan Bird had already like run down the wing on the right hand side. Then Bird is the only one. He was the one picking it up on the left hand side, trying to put a ball in, trying to take it past the defender. I was like, okay, of all the players for it to fall to.
We should say Lachlan because as I saw someone post on Shotsweb the other day, very irate that it's being mispronounced. So I just want to just acknowledge that so that we don't upset,
All right,
a niche community of
he's L
linguists.
Bird forever now, just L Bird. Um, great. Well, I'm sure we'll come on to some more stuff in a bit. Julian, we're going to come to you. So the rest of us three were in the away end, but where were you?
Well, I could see you. I could see you, boys. But no, I was very privileged to actually be the co-commentator for BBC Sports on the day. So yeah, my day was probably a little bit longer than yours in some respects. Although obviously, I know you guys were doing the travelling, but I thought I'd just talk through very quickly what the typical day of a co-commentator looks like, just so that you guys get an idea of what it's all about. But yeah, I had a great time, really enjoyed it, and um, hopefully going to be doing one or two more before the season's out as well. They've said they'll have me back, so I couldn't have done too rubbish a job. Yeah, so we basically met up 3 hours before kickoff. So we met up at 12 o'clock, just outside of Yeovil. Found a really good pub actually, where there was loads of Aldershot supporters there. A place called the Arrow. So next season, the Arrow's the place to be.
Massive screen, isn't it?
Yeah, really good place. So met with Rob Worrell and Joe Pope. So Joe Pope is a colleague of Rob's who do the NL full-time podcast on a weekly basis. So Joe was there as well. He lives in Yeovil, supports Torquay, funnily enough. So met them both there. We then got to the ground about 1:30, and the first job to do was to grab the media badges. So that sort of got us into the media box. And then after that, it's a case of setting up the equipment and making contact with the BBC studio, which can potentially be very quick, or it can take a long time, just depending on what equipment is actually at the ground. Funny enough, the Yeovil guy was having all sorts of problem with his kit, and Rob was able to help him out and get him all set up. So once you've got the equipment set up, it's then making contact with the studio, and then you're going through your sort of sound tests and making sure that everyone can hear everybody. And so by about 2:20, you're in situ, you're ready to go. I thought it was really interesting how the whole thing works, because do you remember that time when you do your driving test and you've got to think about 6, 7, 8 different things at once? And it's like, oh my God, can't do it all. Well, it was a little bit like that. So in my headphones, I was listening to Rob. I was listening to the studio. I was having to watch the match. I was having to make notes. And then, of course, you've got to be ready to make a comment as soon as you're sort of put on the spot. And also because Joe was in the sitting next to me as well, then there was interaction with Joe as well. So absolutely loved the day. Really good position. Obviously, we could see both sides of the ground, which is quite unusual for an away supporter, I guess. But then afterwards, when everyone's making their way home, that's when more work starts. So obviously you're unpacking the kit, and then you're making your way over to the post-match interviews, where normally they will have a chance to speak to the managers, but also look to grab one or two of the players as well. So this week it was Cam Hargreaves and Ashley Akpan who were interviewed for BBC Sport. So after the game, I was able to obviously join the post-match interviews, and I did a joint interview with Rob Worrell. Rob asked the questions first, and then I was able to speak to Tommy and fire in a few questions as well. So I think that's coming up next.
What's your own feelings today?
Yeah, I think I saw the same as you. I mean, both teams could probably lay claim to could have, should have won. And both goalkeepers have made numerous saves. That's like a big profligate from us. I thought we had the better chances to score, particularly the first half, as you said. We kept the crowd quiet. We know Mark's been rallying the East crowd to get behind the players, and they did, to be fair to them, second half, and they got them going. And like I said, both managers will probably say we could have, should have won, but neither of us put the ball in the goal the second time. So we get the point and we go on to the next week now.
We talk about the magic that we know is in Josh Barrett's boots, and he delivered some of that magic today.
Yeah, I just said it to somebody else there. I mean, I would pay money to watch what he did there. And there was another piece of ability that he's shown when he's controlled the ball on the far side and volleyed it to the opposite side of the pitch, and it was completely meant. And it's like, I just said to the person there, he is what he is. He goes, every time we go away from him, he gets grief. He likes wearing that black shirt, by the way, because it's quite slimming. But anyway, he gets grief off the away punters, not our away punters, the opposition. And 9 times out of 10, he answers them back with something, and they end up going up with, wow, Brooks the number 10. And that's what we've got. We know what his deficiencies are, so does he. But I thought he put in a really good shift on and off the ball today, and that's the Josh Barrett we want to see every week.
We could actually pick out some positives about so many players today. I thought especially Ashley Akpal hasn't put a foot wrong since he's been in. But I must ask you for your thoughts on your debutant today, Dan Ellison, left-sided centre-back, and his performance for me belied his 19 years.
Oh yeah, he's a good footballer. He's a game guy. I mean, he's gone up there against two really experienced strikers in Frank and Harry Jarvis. So bearing in mind he hasn't played a competitive match this season. I mean, he played a lot of football at Step 2 last year for Chippenham. Obviously, we've got him the England call up, and we were interested in bringing him, but bigger fish than us caught him. But we've been in constant dialect with Bristol Rovers. And we're delighted that he's joined us. He wasn't injured. Like I said, that was his first game. We just wanted to try and manage the fact that we didn't get him injured, so that's why we took him off. So he's all good.
Any early prognosis on Tetic? Was it hamstring or?
It looks like it. I mean, hopefully he's a clever lad, Dejan. So hopefully he's come off as he started to feel it, and not till it's got to a serious. But we don't know, you know. And just going back to you mentioning Ashley Akpan, you're right. I think that has been outstanding since he's come into the side. He's a patient kid. He's a great athlete, and you know what? If you want somebody to do well, it's him, because he's just a really good lad. He still washes and fills the water bottles before every training session for the rest of the lads, who he's actually on a par with now in terms of he's playing with them.
Fantastic stuff. You'll have a week to prepare for a long away trip up to Fylde. And one thing I know about your side next week already, Tom, is they're going to go up there together as a unit, because they're really working for each other, and some of the partnerships you were trying to build in pre-season and early part of the season are really starting to reap the benefits now. Yeah,
I mean, like I said to you, or like I said after the last game, there was 4 or 5 lads in the starting 11 again today who aren't quite up to 90-minute speed, but they're having to play because they've got so many, you know, carrying knocks and niggles at the moment. So let's see. Hopefully, we're going to give them obviously a rest, because we're travelling again on Friday all day. So we've got to look after them. People don't think travelling is tiring, but plumbing well is, trust me, especially when it's that distance. But we're finding somewhere to train on the way up there. But yeah, like I said, we move on to the next project, which is the game. We'll give them a couple of days to get back on their feet, and then we'll go back at it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Tommy. Yeah, the tempo of the game changed in the second half. With I felt that when Torquay threw on their big front two, that
or Yeovil
even, yes, indeed. It just changed the dynamic of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, what that enables them to do is to get the ball forward a lot quicker, because they've got 2 physical presences up there. And like you said, they're experienced strikers, so they know how to win a free kick. They know how to get away with not giving a free kick away. So they tend to ask more questions of you, which they did. And they're at home, like I said, kicking into their own end. I thought their fans got off their seats for them in the second half. We could hear them. But I think we should have been outside at half time, really. I know our goalkeeper made a couple of saves himself, but we missed some really good chances in the first half.
Yeah, I thought we started off really quickly. Was that always a game plan to get into them early?
Yeah, I mean, we had highlighted 2 areas where we felt we could hurt them, and we actually got going really early in the game in the areas that we mentioned. But I just felt there was a slight lack of quality in the second to last, or the last pass before the chance at times, and then when we did do it right all the way up to the last bit, profligate finishing is why we didn't score more than 1 goal. Simple as that.
Yeah, and then the Yeovil back forward normally looks so self-assured, but I really felt that with sort of 3 up front almost, that we really put them to the sword.
Yeah, I mean, we moved them around. We saw weakness in certain areas there, and we exploited it well. I thought they didn't like running back towards their goal in the first half, and they did a lot of it. They had to do it because James, despite his age, is still sprightly, still fit lad, and can get across the ground. So we had a lot of joy down the right hand side in the first half. And like I said, it's one of them where I look back at this game when I get home, and I look through the clips and stuff, and I'll go, how the hell did we not score there or there or there? But right now it's a point added to the tally, and we move on to the next game. That's all we can do.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Tommy.
That's right.
So that was Tommy and Tommy's views. I thought it was really interesting to hear Tommy's viewpoint on the Fylde game coming up on Saturday. He was talking about travelling up on the Friday, that they will look for a place to train. And it sounds like, sort of speaking off off camera that there's about 12, I think 12 away trips each year where they have to go through this process of traveling up the day before and then looking for somewhere to train. So they are actually training on the Friday before the match on the Saturday as well. So just very quickly, my thoughts on the game. I thought Dan Ellison had a great debut for a 19-year-old. I thought he looked so assured. I actually gave him man of the match on the commentary. He just, as Joe said earlier on, he just nullified Nuble with ease. And there's a striker there who's had nigh on 20 clubs up against a kid who has not even played a full game this season. So I was really impressed with him. And like Ash said, I'm hoping that he stays on for longer than a month because I think he's got a lot to offer. I thought I agree with the guys. I thought we were superb in the first half, should have been out of sight. Second half, they made some tactical changes, didn't they? They stuck Aaron Jarvis up front, made it a lot harder for our back three. And I think as soon as they made that change and they brought on the guy from on loan from Port Vale, a guy called James Plant. So he managed to bed himself in, and sorry, a little pun there. I thought he played really well down the left-hand side, and we were struggling. I think, like Ash said earlier on, we've got to start getting our heads around second half performances because I think that's now three away games where we've been ahead at half time and we've not won them. So, we've really got to get our head around what we're going to do about that because that's really something for me that can't carry on. We need to be picking up those points away from home. But just a thoroughly enjoyable day, and also a quick word for the turnout as well. I think it was over 400 supporters there. So Joe, your mates made it over 400, which was really good. Really good day out.
Great. Yeah. Lovely to hear that. Were you nervous at all, Julian, during it, before it?
I was a little bit nervous at the start because it's like a bit like that driving test thing, isn't it? You don't really know what to expect. So once it has started, I felt comfortable. If I get another chance again, which hopefully I will, then I'll know a bit better. Just a very quick story. My mum, bless her, she's 88, wanted to listen to me doing my first commentary, and she messaged me at the end of the game and said, "I didn't hear you. Well, you weren't on." And I said, "Well, you must have listened to the wrong one then, because there was two, wasn't there? There was a Radio Somerset and a Radio Surrey." And she spent 2 hours waiting for me to come on. She listened to the whole match and listened to the wrong commentary.
She thought you were speaking in a funny accent.
Yeah, she wasn't quite sure, but I just thought it's so funny that she listened to the whole 2 hours and was still waiting for me to come on even at the end, even after the match had finished.
I think I saw someone say there was a problem actually with ours was showing up as like Radio Sussex. I think because Radio Surrey was going to the Woking game, the other Radio Surrey had the wrong graphic, so she could have been listening to a completely different game.
Yeah, there was a problem with that, and I think it was just one of those things again. I think it didn't help that Brighton were playing at 3 o'clock as well, so there was a focus on the Brighton game as well, I think. But hopefully next time it'll be a little bit different, and I'll get my mum to log on to the right one next time.
Lovely stuff. Great, yeah. I think we've covered most of the things from the Yeovil game. I guess as you mentioned near the end there, the kind of second half performances. The only kind of note I made was just the lack of chances we seem to be able to create in the second half, and I think that is generally our issue. I mean, Tommy in his Aldershot post-match interview was saying that. I think about Gandor mainly. He's got to stay within the posts in order to score a goal, and it's kind of true. I mean, because he works so hard and he gets into all these. He gets forward. He's got the ball near the wings, but if you're the only striker, or if you've only got Barham in the box, even though Barham wasn't there on Saturday, it's going to be difficult to create a goal or create meaningful chances. I think we maybe had two half chances in the second half, which is definitely a worry. I just put it. I wonder if is it injuries and match fitness, or is it yeah, are our players just geared to play 70 minutes and kill a game off? I mean, it'd be great because if we were 3-0 up after 70, then you'd back us, but we're not. It's one goal maybe. What do you think, Joe?
It definitely does feel like we're having a lot of bad luck with injuries at the same time, all coming at once. I feel like if you look back to last season, you think of our key players, Tollard, Stokes, Glover, they were pretty much fit for the entire season. And even Glover, who was notorious for 60 minutes, he was lasting whole matches. And if you look at this season, our key players, Barrett, Henry, Barham, Tetek, they are not anywhere near the minutes we had from our key players last season. Well, I'm saying key players because those are the players for us this season that unlock the defences, score the goals, turn draws into wins. So yes, it may be a 70-minute problem, but I think it's a combination of the problems we've got with injuries at the moment as well.
Yeah, true. And I suppose a word for El Capitano, Cam Hargreaves at the weekend. Chris Hargreaves was in the away stand watching him. Very proud moment, I'm sure. So yeah, he's been consistently getting 90, but if you're the only one out of the front 5 or 6 that's getting 90 consistently, then a lot of the pressure is going to fall on you. Obviously, it didn't help with Theo getting a 1-match suspension. What do you think about that, Ash? Is it kind of, I mean, he did mention about Barham, it's a kind of lack of match fitness or match readiness as well. And we seem to only be able to get 60 out of Henry as well.
I think Joe's touched a very good point that we got a bunch of players essentially who are 70-minute players, but injuries this season, I don't know if you've looked at the National League as a whole, it seems to be an issue across the board. And I think the teams that have the strength in depth are going to be the teams at the top. And we're starting to see your Barnetts, your Gatesheads who have that depth in their squads where they've got 6 or 7 injuries and still maintain that quality being towards the top end of the table. I think we've been very unlucky in the fact that we've had a bunch of the same positions being injured. And we've got a bunch of players that can last 70 minutes plus. So we've got good rotation within our team. But I think at the moment, defensively, we're struggling a little bit with, obviously, we've had to bring in a lone player anyway. And partly as well is I feel we're not quite set on a starting 11 is something else that affects us. So we got that 70 minutes out of Henry today. Will he play in the next game? I don't know if we've got that set 11 that some of the top sides seem to put out. They seem to make 1 or 2 changes each game, as we seem to be struggling to find that combination, which is going to, I think, take us to the next sort of level from where we're at.
Nice. And what do you think about it, Julian, from your side?
Yeah, I think we've got an unusual situation. Like Ash and Joe have already alluded to it, in that our front 3 on Saturday of Barrett, Henry, and Gandor. Barrett and Henry, they aren't going to last the 90 minutes, and so you haven't got that ability to recreate the same team sort of week in, week out. I'm really hoping that that they're getting closer to 90 minutes now, because I think it was the first time that we've seen Barrett and Henry start where they've been so effective, and for that to sort of peter out after 60 minutes, and as Joe said, with Tetek getting injured after 60 minutes or so, we really lost all the momentum, and you could tell that the crowd were getting right behind Yeovil, and it really did feel as if it was just a matter of time before they scored their equaliser. Interesting from Yeovil's point of view, they see it as 2 points dropped. They thought they were pretty dominant, and I just think it's really interesting how supporters see the same game. I saw a couple of times on ShotsWeb comments, even with their own supporters, of, "Were you watching the same game as me?" It's football's a matter of opinion, isn't it? I guess.
Very true.
Can I give an honourable shout out to the linesman in front, assistant referee in front of the away end? one of the most. I used to referee, and I'm actually loath to criticise decisions, but there was an offside which was I think the most obvious offside decision not given that I think I've ever seen. It's about 4 yards off, and thankfully going back to Dewhurst, he's saved a fantastic one-on-one from that opportunity. If like any goalkeepers watching, that was like textbook on how to save a one-on-one. Phenomenal save, just waited just at the right time. Which he's a lot stronger at that than I think Geordie was last season. His reading of the game of one-on-ones. But yeah, shout out to the assistant referee there.
Yeah, I'd completely forgotten about that. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's also in the perfect position. You're literally right in front of 400 Aldershot fans, and the the noise when that flag didn't go up. They don't help themselves sometimes. I mean, that was great. Yeah. Yeah. What was I about to say? Yeovil. Oh, just in general about Aldershot at home. Sometimes in that first half, we're not that good, and then we turn it on in the second half, and we come away like, wow, we won 2-1. That was just a great performance. But often we'll have I mean, last season we had quite a few slow starts or whatever. Yeah, and I guess myself and Dan, my mate, we went to Yeovil, got into Yeovil Junction, and then we're immediately wondering how on earth this was a championship club if anyone had to get off at Yeovil Junction. Tried to get in a taxi that was booked for 2 people, so added 2 more people on it. He said, "Get out." So they don't want extra people. I told him we'll give him double the money, and he was like, "No, cannot do." I was like, "Fair enough." It said there was a bus 5 minutes after the train got in, so we thought, "Oh, we'll wait there." A few Aldershot fans also queuing up, not queuing up, kind of lingering around. And then what pulls up is the number 52, which is a minibus, of course. So this has got, I mean, circa 13 seats, and you can't stand up. And he says only 6 of you can get on. So that already perked everyone's ears up. Who's going to be the 6? Like the last train out of insert city. Yeah, so we did manage to get on and pay. But the reason he didn't have like space or seats for everyone was because he was picking some old deer up down the road, wasn't he? So that was lovely little local moment. So yeah, it basically just I have no idea how teams in the south that got off at Yeovil Junction were ever going to get to the ground because you're 5 miles from the ground at that point. So yeah, a wild experience. My first time traveling by train to Yeovil. Yeah. Right. Where to next? I guess as we were talking about before I derailed it with Yeovil chat about injuries and match fitness. We best get on to talking about the weekend. Well, we've finally got a week off at least, so we should have a couple of players back, hopefully. So I'll come to you first, Joe. How are you feeling ahead of Fylde away? They're currently in the bottom 4, but as we know, no need to look at the table when Aldershot play a team.
Yeah, I think it's a much better opportunity to get that much needed win than what Yeovil was on Saturday. I think Yeovil's league position, judging by their second half performance, was slightly false at the start of the game. They did look quite a solid unit, but if you look at Fylde, outside of one player, they didn't look like they've got any real goal scorers. And it's nice to look at a team for once with a far worse defensive record and goal difference than us. I think if we can get that first goal, looking at Fylde's form at the moment, it looks like we can hopefully go on and push on because their defense looks weak. If we can prey on that early on, hopefully a couple of those missed chances turn to goals. It's rare that I'm confident, but I do feel like we could run away with this one 2 or 3-0. I liken it back to the poor runs of form we had in the Danny Searle eras, the Mark Molesley era, the Barry Smith era. When we were going through poor runs, then it never felt like there was ways out or that we were ever near winning. But I look at this, you look at the way Tommy speaks after a match, the work rate you see from the players. even when on a poor run of form, the heads aren't dropping. They look so frustrated when they can't. Barrett's reaction to missing some chances on the weekend. It just seems to be so much more passion and drive to actually get that win. I mean, I can only liken it to the last few years in the poor eras because that's so fresh in our brains because that's all we've had for the last 10 years, bar a brief Waddock period. So I'm quite confident, although Fylde will be, again, they'll be desperate for a result, won't they? Just like we are. So that first goal is going to be crucial. But at the moment, we seem to be able to get that first goal. And yes, we just need to, is it Horton? We just need to keep him quiet. And we should hopefully run out to 2-0 victory, I reckon.
Lovely positive spin. Looking ahead. Yeah, so the player you mentioned is Nick Horton, who I presume has scored goals against us, but he's scored 10. He's top of the league in terms of scoring. Fylde has scored 13 goals in total, so 10 out of that have come from his boots and maybe head. They currently don't have a permanent managerial system going on. They've got Chris Neal and Nathan Delfonso, who I remember from FIFA Ultimate Team days. He was rapid. They're taking charge of first team matters, and that was a couple of weeks ago now, when Chris Beach left, along with his assistant Nick Anderton. Ash, I'll come to you. How are you feeling ahead of Saturday?
Like Joe said, a little bit confident about this one. Scored less than us, but like teams such as Tamworth have gone there and won. York have put 3 past them. Barnet just put 2 past them. I'm quite confident that we'll get a good score there. I think, again, we need to just put them to the sword in the first half. We need to put out a strong team, go 2 or 3 nil up in the half, and then we can have our second half where we tend to be not as clinical or not as dominant with the ball, and just go through the motions for the second 45. I think that's going to be our style of play coming onto it. As I say, they're 22nd in the league, but league position really doesn't matter as such. I am very confident I'll be travelling up there myself. I'm actually going to go for a tighter game than 2-0. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. I think we'll get a goal. I don't think they'll have enough going forward to get past us. That's how I feel it'll be 1-0.
Nice. Bring on Maghoma versus Horton. That's his next battle, Maghoma. Let's see how he does. Julian, how are you looking ahead of Saturday?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident too. You mentioned earlier on that Chris Beach has already been given the sack. The 2 that are caretaking at the moment don't seem to be pulling up any trees. And funnily enough, I was listening to Joe Pope the other day, who was saying that there is, I think it's the workshop manager who's in the frame to take over. My only concern is that if he takes over before the match, then we could be again on the end of a manager bounce situation. But I'm hoping that they just hold off a little bit longer on that. But I remember when Fylde came to our place last year, and I think they rattled 4 past us and made us look silly. They've lost some of those key players in the summer. The only one they have kept is Horton. He's going to be an interesting challenge for our back 3, because if you look at our back 3, they're all sort of similar physique. They're quite tall. They're good in the air. But Nick Horton's much more of a player who can run in behind and also be run in front of you as well. He's a typical number 10, quite small, quite mobile, and obviously if you give him a chance, then he's more than likely to score. So we really need to keep him in front of us. We don't want to be turning our backs and running towards the goal, because then that's where you're going to have some real problems. But all in all, I think I think we're going to go very similar to our other games in the season, where we have started off quickly. Just looking at the stats, we haven't been behind yet at half time in any of our away games. So I'm just touching wood as I say that. I'm hoping that we continue with that. And as Ash and Joe have alluded to, I think if we can get in front, then I think Fylde are going to find it really hard to get back into this one.
Yeah, it's interesting you say We haven't conceded in the first. I just had a little mad thought, like, oh, it'd be nice to concede early, and then there'll be a demand. We have to score two. Like, you have to. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get more goals. Whereas I feel like if we score that first one, we're like, "Oh, do we go? Do we go? Can we create another chance? I don't know. Feeling a bit mad. It's a Tuesday night, and there's no football on that I'm watching. Yeah. I mean, I'm annoyingly also feeling quite confident though, ahead of this one. So but I'm also, yeah, I think 2-0. I think 2-0. We won 2-0 there. It was last season, wasn't it, with Frost and Glover scoring goals? I think it was at the start, near the start of the season. But yeah, I'm still a bit scarred from how they passed us off the pitch on back in, I presume, March or April this year. Right. Well, let's discuss the FA Cup and the draw that was just made yesterday as we record. Aldershot drawn at home to Bath City. Bath City currently in National League South. There are replays in this round, as with the other qualifying rounds, but no replays in the first to the third rounds proper. They've just announced yesterday that, or kind of, I think yesterday, not officially. There's no statement from the FA yet, but like they're putting more money into the FA Cup first to third rounds to kind of compensate for the lack of replays. So 2.4 million is going to be spread out. So there's a bit of a bump up in the prize money for winning those ties. If we make it through. I'll come to you first, Joe. What are your thoughts on Bath City at home and the prospect of potentially having to play them away on a Tuesday if we draw?
I was slightly gutted that it wasn't an away draw, because I think an away day in Bath would be a real cracker, wouldn't it? And if we do, part of me half wants a replay, because at least we can get, have a fun Tuesday night out. But it's a banana skin. I think a lot of people are quite confident with it, but when you play a team that's sort of slightly struggling in a league, the cup can be a bit of a free hit for them, because they're obviously trying to focus on the league. So often they just have a freak result and end up with a weird cup run. However, if you look back to last season, Tommy really did take the cup seriously. I think the FA Cup home fixture. Forgot who we played last season at home in the qualifying round, but that was when Tollard really sort of burst onto the scene and kick-started his goal-scoring form. And it might be a game for perhaps Gander or Barham to really sort of get their confidence up, score a few goals. That's what I hope. I think it's interesting because we've never played them apparently ever, old club or new club, which I find quite interesting considering when we reformed, worked our way back up, we must have passed them as they came down and we went up or something, because I don't quite understand how we've missed them. But yeah, definitely potential banana skin, but I'm a lot more confident than a couple of seasons ago, where we just saw any team. Anytime we drew a team in the league below us, we were like, well, we're out. It happened time and time again. Although they're only one league below us, we normally lose to the teams that are at least two leagues below us. So I'm pretty confident with that one. If we did go to a replay, I'd be a lot less confident. It's quite a windy ground, quite a small pitch. So I hope we get the job done at home.
Nice. Yeah, it was Lewis at home last year with Tolaj getting a hat trick and kickstarting his FA Cup goal glut. Yeah, obviously, yeah, you mentioned we beat them, but yeah, we still had a Bishop Stortford last season to wet the whistle for Aldershot slipping up to teams they shouldn't. They were 24th without a win in so long. Bath are currently 19th after 9 games in the National League South, which is quite weird. It's quite a lot less games. They're just kind of praying for more rain in the National League South back end of the season. Ash, what are your thoughts on the draw? Are you confident we got through?
Yeah, it's good draw in the essence. The first thing I did when they went 4th round qualifying draw was checking if Bishop Stortford were in the north or south. Didn't want to go back there. When we discussed it on the way back from the Yeovil game, we was kind of in agreement that we'd want a nice, easy home tie to get us through this round, to get us into the next round. It's not the easiest tie because, as Joe alluded to, it could be a banana skin, especially if you have to play an away game as well. That adds up to the more games that we'd have. I went into it thinking, right, a nice easy home game or a decent away day. That's the way I went about it. I think we've got what I wanted. There was a few clubs in there that I was kind of like, oh, if we go there, I can easily get there and things like that. But I think it had been a nice one to go to. I expect us to go through, but they have a lot riding on the fact that they could get to the first round proper because that's big money for them if they get past us. So I think we've got to not underestimate them. I think actually it's a good game for Corbett to come in and play if he's available. I think maybe give him a run out against a team that's not in our division might start him rolling as well. It's a good chance to rest a few of maybe the key players and put them on the bench, but we just got to not underestimate them. And I think Tommy won't, as Joe said, it's one of his objectives is to get a cup run going, whichever cup it is. So I think we will take it seriously. I do think it will be a comfortable win on the night. Don't think it will go to a replay, but you never know with the FA Cup.
Yeah. Well, the complexion could look different depending on if we draw another game on Saturday, I suppose, before it. But we'll at least have a week off in between, so I'm sure we'll have a nice fresh squad to choose from for the Bath game. And come to you, Julian. What did you make of the draw and Bath City at home in prospect?
Yeah, it could have been a whole lot worse, couldn't it? The fourth round draw is regionalised, so when you immediately take out the northern teams and you look in the south, it could have been Barnet away, could have been Solihull away. Yeah, there's some really tricky ties that it could have been. So, as Ash alluded to earlier on, first of all, you hope for a home draw, and then secondly, if you get the home draw, you then hope for a team that are at least a division below. So we can't ask for anything more. Again, I'd agree with the other guys. You have to pay someone like Bath some real respect because, although 19th in the division below looks as if it's a foregone conclusion, the standard in National South isn't a huge gulf between the bottom of our league and theirs. And again, there's probably only one or two teams in the National South that are really decent, and the rest are competent. So it's going to be a tough one. My concern will be if we do rest some of the players. So we spoke earlier on about Henry and Barrett only lasting 60, 70 minutes. So you would imagine that they might get rested. And as Ash said, let's bring Corbett in. I think that's a good shout. But if you rest Dewhurst as well, and perhaps McComber gets rested, then you bring Mullins in, and all of a sudden you bring Frost in, perhaps, and all of a sudden you've got a game on your hands. So I just hope that it isn't wholesale changes, but perhaps just an opportunity, as Ash said, perhaps bring in Corbett and one or two others, and not change the team too much, because that again would be a concern for me. With regard to the replay, if there was a replay, I think we'd be okay. If I'm being honest, I think we'd be okay if it did go to replay. And as Joe said, me and Joe could get there quite easily, so it's not a huge problem for us if it is a replay. Look forward to that one. Another day out for the podcast.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, I very, very hope we put a full-strength side out and win the game. We can make changes after the 60th minute if you want to give someone some minutes, but the best team needs to go out and needs to get it done in 90 minutes. We've been gifted a kind of week off without a Tuesday game, so let's not add another one to our schedule. And looking forward to it. And obviously we don't know ticket prices as yet, but be interested to see what they come up with between themselves, between Aldershot and Bath, to agree how much they're going to be. So that's next week. And that's probably all we've got time for, to be honest, on this week's pod. So thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ash. Thank you, Julian.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.